Hi there, I'm Sandra with Groove City Thrifts. Today I am at the St. Vincent de Paul in Waukesha, Wisconsin, which is to the west of the Milwaukee area. I have not been here for quite a long time. I tend to do my sourcing at Goodwill's most commonly because I find that I can source most inexpensively there, and that means I have higher profits. I'm small potatoes, so that I really need to look at how I'm paying for the items that I choose to resell. Anyway, St. Vincent's, I feel like they have a little bit more of an idea of what they have sometimes. So their items can be a little bit higher priced, but there's always deals and treasures to be found. So join me and let's hit it. There are a number of St. Vinny's in the Milwaukee or Wisconsin area, but this is the one that's closest to where I work. So one of the first aisles in this store is kitchen items, utensils, etc. And I noticed this boxed set here on the shelf of what looked to be wooden placemats. And they may not be wooden, but they are textured with kind of like an alligator skin. They are I just think they're really cool, and it's a full set. Pinot, I think, and then it says it's from the Philippines. I know Pinot refers to the Philippines. I find this really cool, and I think it would look great under a lot of different kinds of place settings, especially maybe at boho. So I put that in my cart. And then I noticed this boxed set here. This looks to be a cheese board or some sort of cutting board and a knife. And on the back of the box, it says it's from Hawaii. It's got a bird of paradise on it and a raised design. And I really do like the design, but I'm debating at this moment. I just picked up another, placemats, and I'm not sure, but I do end up taking it with me. I'm panning a little bit to show you how big the store is. What's nice about St. Vinny's is they do sell furniture. The Goodwills in my area no longer sell furniture, which is, I kind of sad about that. But I am moving into the baskets aisle. I am looking for rectangular or square baskets that are sturdy. I use them a lot for work. I use them for storage and organizing. And so I saw this one with a lid. I liked it and popped it in my cart. And then I saw another one. They're nothing fancy. They're not for resale. They're really more for my own personal use. So I put that in my cart as well. In the wood section, I am scanning for vintage items and things that are unusual. And the first thing that I take a closer look at is this plate. This looks to be pyrography, and it is, when I look at the back, it looks like, I'm not sure, but I think that might be Cyrillic or Russian. And then I noticed this bowl, which has what seems to be an old label, but I wasn't that in love with the design. I noticed this tray that has, I think, a very pretty scene on it, and on the back it says it was made in Japan. It's a little beat up, but I definitely like the look of the tray. Moving on, I notice two boxes that those would be very useful, and they're got kind of a nice design. They're taped shut, but they've got these little metal stands that they sit on, which I kind of liked. But I also noticed they were rather lightweight. I noticed this trivet, this ceramic trivet, and it looks to be UNESCO, and it was most likely vintage with a rooster. It's a nice piece. I decided not to get it. I was still a little more interested in the boxes at that moment. A couple pineapples made from probably monkey pod, probably Philippines. And then these are pretty hand painted. I think that these are potentially votive candle holders. Not sure what they are, but they were a pretty painting job. And then another box. On a shelf, I noticed these hand-painted wooden discs, and they turn out to have titles and a signature, and it's obviously a very cool set that would make a really amazing display on walls. I really like them. I didn't take them, but I wanted you to see them. I'm still in the wood aisle, and I notice on the shelf a one of these, I think they're called shelf sitters. This one is made by Sheila's Collectibles, and that is a house in Oregon. I think those are really beautiful for the architectural information you get. And here, yes, I can't help myself. It's a handmade wooden truck. It appears to be vintage, and I turn it over, and for sure it is made by Grandpa in 1978. I am compelled to rescue these things from the thrift stores whenever I see them. I just love them. I love that someone put the time and effort into making this toy for a child. This one is not very fancy, but I'm going to take it. The last time I was at this St. Vinny's, I didn't find very many items, but the one find that made me happy was a koa wood napkin holder. And here I am just checking out some wood items, and I pick up, yes, it's another piece of koa wood. And I do well selling koa wood. This would be a very sweet, once it gets cleaned up, a very sweet little maybe succulent planter or just a bowl for trinkets. And I'm taking it with me. I'm tickled. I noticed this hand-painted watermelon. It's made out of wood. It is dated 1962. Maybe I should have picked it up. I was feeling like I had quite a few wooden items already, so I left it. But isn't that charming? That would look great on a shelf. In the kitchen area, I am typically looking for enameled bakeware and Pyrex and other things that stand out. Here I notice something that Tiffany from Thrifting Vegas, another YouTuber that I follow, this looked like Nordic ware, and from her I have learned that Nordic ware can be a good pickup. So this is a Star of David shape. It definitely needs a good cleaning, but I'm looking to see, is it Nordic ware? And so I'm looking around for some sort of mark, and yes, there it is. It is Nordic ware. And while this piece is, I would pay about $6 for it. These typically go for $20 to $25. I decide I am going to give this a try. So it goes in my cart. Here on the shelves, I spy this little trinket box. I'm going to pick it up in just a second. It turns out to be, I recognize the design, that is Villeroy and Boch, or Villeroy and Boch, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that is the Naif design, and that is a pretty good sell for me. So I checked out the price, the price is right, and that went in my box. I don't pick up a lot of kitsch. The kitsch has to be just right for me to get it. Oops, focus. But anyway, this music box with the mice sewing, I just love it. It works. It's big, it's ornate, it's detailed, it's got a Christmas side and a non-Christmas side, and I love it. There is a chip on one of the mouse's ears. I might have taken this with me, but today, because of the chip, I leave it there. I'm in the figurines aisle, and I notice that elephant with sitting on its hindquarters with its trunk raised, and I go over to take a look because I'm thinking it's ceramic, but it's metal, and that got me really excited. So I'm looking at this, I'm thinking it's brass. What an interesting piece. I'm turning it around to get a good look at it. No damage that I can see, and I am definitely going to take this with me. I see the price tag of $5.29 or something like that, but wait a minute, there's another tag, $21.19, and guess which one I think it's the real price? It's the $21. So I liked it, but I had to leave it behind. And then I noticed right next to it this little inkle vintage trinket box. Inkulé is stone, and it's carved in that beautiful relief. It's very 1970s. Three is a little high for it, $3.49, but I decide I'm going to take that with me. One of the nice things about St. Vinny's is how nicely they label their shelves. You can see here, I'm at the birds and ducks shelf. And I noticed this pretty orange ceramic bird, but then right behind it, I see this little birdie trinket box, and it is by Demdaco. And I think I've recently heard from one of the other thrifters that I follow that Demdaco is a brand to keep a lookout for. This is a really sweet little trinket box. I think it's composite, but I love the hand painting, so I put it in my box. On one of the end shelves, I noticed this glass with ceramic celery and a raised ceramic tomato. It appears to be some sort of Bloody Mary setup. I don't know why there's so much celery, but right next to it, I notice this this glass bud vase. It appears to be Scandinavian to me. It's got textured glass with two different patterns. It's got a polished bottom. It's quite heavy. I really like it. There's no signature, but I think it's a quality piece, so I decide to take that with me. In the vases aisle, you can see, again, it's so nicely organized here at St. Vinny's. I start and right away see this really beautiful vase. It is hand-thrown pottery with a drip glaze in a kind of avocado green. It looks to be undamaged, and it is signed. It says in appreciation and a name that I can't quite make out, and then a date. It looks to be 1990. So I just think it's a really beautiful, very mid-century modern look to it, even though it's a 1990 piece, and I decide to take that with me. Right away, I discover this nice vase. It's herringbone pattern. It's got a nice thick white glaze. It's not marked, and because I'd already picked up the green drip glaze vase, I decide to leave it there. I notice right next to it this brass etched vase. These are often made in Israel or India. I have a collection myself. They look nice when you've got different shapes and sizes displayed together, but this one is $6.69 and it doesn't have much of a contrast in color, so I leave it. I'm moving into the mugs aisle, but wait a minute, what is that? That I recognize. That is Solimene Vietri. It's Italian pottery. That pattern is so fun. It's the pigs with the carrots pattern. And this little mini pitcher or creamer is in great condition, maybe a couple little flea bites there on the handle. But I'm going to take that with me for $2.69. Among the mugs, I noticed these white milk glass mugs with the gold rim. These turn out to be, I believe, Hazel Atlas, and I've seen them listed for about $30 for a set of 6. But I'm quickly distracted by these cut glass mugs. I become just smitten with them, and I don't really know why. I really love the cut glass design, the two different textures or patterns in the cut glass, the design on the handles, and they're only $1.39 each. And to be perfectly honest, I just can't help picturing root beer floats in these. They just scream root beer floats at me, and I just had to have them. Turns out that they are Anchor Hocking vintage Wexford glass mugs, and it's a pretty good pickup, so that was a score. And yes, these are La Creuset. I'm so excited to find them. These pretty little ramekins are a little bit pricey at $3.49 each. There might be a little bit of room for reselling, but they may just end up living in my cupboards because they're just a great quality piece and I use a lot of ramekins. So, pretty pickup. Another shopper very kindly came up to me and told me about these glasses. She asked me if I was a reseller, and when I said yes, she said she had looked up these glasses and that they were Italian and worth a lot of money. I went back to take a look at them, and yes, I thought they were very pretty with the etching and with the bubble stems in the avocado green. They definitely looked like they were vintage. So I took them with me. And my own research has suggested that they're not Italian. They're more likely to be German by a company called Roemer or Roemer, spelled Roemer. And they're vintage, they're nice, but they're not going to bring the big profits that the very kind shopper was hoping they would bring for me. Still a nice pickup. Here in the candle aisle, I find myself drawn to this brass sterno burner. It is vintage. I just think sometimes these utilitarian pieces can be a good pickup. And when I look at the bottom, I notice that it says that it is Swiss made. And I think the age plus being made in Switzerland makes me think this might be a good pickup. So I put that in my cart. Here on the lower shelf, I notice this chip and dip, and I recognize the pattern, the design there. That is Louisville stoneware. It is not damaged, and it's a very hefty piece. I put it in my cart and decided to look it up. It's $6.69. And unfortunately, the sold prices on eBay are not very high. So I end up putting that back. So here's a last look at the items I ended up taking home with me. These are the set of Roemer German cordial glasses. This vase that is handmade and drip glazed and signed. I've got the vintage truck, the trinket box by Villeroy and Boch, the glass bud vase, and this Demdaco trinket box. The Anchor Hocking set of 4 Wexford glass mugs, think root beer floats. This was the sleeper find of the whole trip, the Pat Coito Hawaiian Koa bowl. The Inkole Pink Heart trinket box by Robert Nemeth. I picked up some everyday earrings for myself, 3 pair. The set of 4 Le Creuset ramekins in a cyan blue color. On the bottom here, this Star of David Nordic Wear bunt pan. Here's the Solimene Vietri creamer or small pitcher with the pig and carrot design. This is a blue splatterware plate that I am going to use as an underplate for a plant for myself. This is that cheese tile and knife in a box set that is Hawaiian. Having trouble getting it out. And here's that 6-piece placemat set with the alligator textured round placemats. Here's the vintage sterno that is Swiss made. And finally, a candle for myself. I had a great time. I found a lot of things. And yes, they were smaller things. They're not going to bring in huge money, but they are going to add up. I'm especially tickled that I found a piece of koa wood here again. I've found koa wood at this store before and I can sell it. Those cordial glasses, now the person who pointed them out to me, she said she looked them up on eBay and they're worth good money.
I don't know if she was looking at sell prices or sold prices, so I have to do some research. But I'm really glad that she kind of pushed me in that direction, because I do need to be pushed to learn a little bit more about glass and to start taking some chances. And so that was great. The other things, just lots of cool things, some older things. I'm happy with what I got, and I hope you had fun shopping with me. So if you did, come back, we'll do it again. Like my channel, comment. I love the comments, especially from the people who are in the region who do some thrifting here and go to some of the same places that I do. And yeah, and subscribe, and we will do this again. So thrift on, siblings. I'll see you soon.